After listening to this talk with you, I really feel like I'm in a history class, listening to a lecture with a lot of information. So I've gone back to the days of my student
What
life.
happens is I am really charged with energy listening to the wonderful and mellifluous flow of his talk. I am not.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the talk today, and we all enjoyed rather.
Yeah.
And I could correlate many things because I had been to those places like Salihundam, Kurmam, Srikakulam, Arsa Valley, Dantapuram, even Mukhalingam. I have seen
Oh.
those places. So that's why I could correlate many things. But
We have to together understand our immediately as our Kalinga identity and our Bharati identity.
I searched everything, and one poem is written by our ex-prime minister, ex-chief minister of Odisha, Nandini Satpathy. She belongs to Dhauli area. In that poem, the king of Kalinga named Ananta Padmanabh.
Good evening, everyone. Today in Kalinga history, we are having a very special seminar, very special program today. Today we have with us a distinguished speaker from Andhra Pradesh, Dr. D. Vizai Bhaskar. He is a retired director, Department of Language and Culture, Government of Andhra Pradesh. This particular talk was in the planning phase since last several months. I'm so happy. Finally, Dr. Vijay Bhaskar could manage time and gave his consent to have today's talk. For the participants who are joining today for first time, I just want to tell you that Kalinga History Platform, we are focused on finding the past history, heritage, culture, and such aspect of Kalinga, the region which encompassed Odisha and also Andhra Pradesh. So since last 2 years, we are conducting weekly seminars, weekly webinars on Sunday, which is attended by people from all over the planet. So I welcome all the participants to today's meeting, and before letting our speaker start his session, I would like to give a small introduction. The biodata that Vijay Bhaskar sir sent me is quite long, 10 pages long. So I'll just read out some part of that. Dr. Vijay Bhaskar is a retired director, as I already told you. So apart from his official work, he had great zeal for drama and other literary works. His philosophical writings is available in a book titled Srushti Garbha, in which he has written 850 poems which help readers to interpret the 12 Upanishads. He has written about 30 plus drama, and also he writes poetry, short stories, novels, and a good number of translated works as well. Today we shall get a peek into one of his novel, which was written originally in Telugu, titled Veera Kalinga, and it has been translated into English as Valiant Kalinga by Dr. Tangirala Srilaka. So with this small brief introduction, I would request the speaker, Dr. Vijay Bhaskar, to start his talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And on my behalf, I wholeheartedly welcome all the participants and who are curious to know about the history or the cultural heritage or greatness of Kalinga. And giving me this opportunity, I extend my thanks to the organizers. Basically, as I was introduced by Sunil sir, I am a bureaucrat in AP government and retired as Director, Department of Culture and Language. Let me admit that whatever I am going to share with you about my understanding about the Kalinga is a layman understanding. I am neither a historian nor an archaeologist or any serious person who studied A to Z about Kalinga. But when I first came to know by a short book written by Nalli Dharmarao, who is a journalist in Srikakulam district, who is very interested into the greatness of Kalinga, he wrote a book on that, Kalinga Vamshadhara. Vamshadhara is a river flowing through both the states, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh, and has its confluence in Vizianagaram, which is very near to my native place, Srikakulam, Ampol village. There are two persons in our district whom I know very closely, who are very interested in the studies of Kalinga history. One is Nalli Dharmarao, and the other person is also Dusi Dharmarao, who is no more. So when I read this short book of Nalli Dharmarao, I felt very happy, and I felt also proud to be a person who born on that noble land of Kalinga. Why that is a noble land? If we put a question like that, the wife of Suryodhana, Bhanumati, was a prince from Kalinga state. See, go back to the ancient history of Mahabharata. If Kalinga was in a position to offer its daughter to the most powerful emperor of those days, we can imagine what mighty strength Kalinga has. How much rich, how much affluent it was, the Kalinga was in those days. It is not an easy thing to offer its princess or a daughter of Kalinga or of any state in those days as a wife to the most powerful king in those days, or prince in those days, by name Suryodhana. Of course, the Mahabharata, the merits and demerits, the Papa Punya, the vices are the virtues of Pandavas are the vices of Duryodhana. Leave all those things. Keep all those things aside for some time. So I felt very happy. Oh, I belong to this land. And the other factor that made me happy is the Ashoka Great married a girl, that too a fisherman girl by name Parvaki, from my land. In my investigation, her community, sub-community, and the place, maybe approximate place where she lived, where she was born, I could find out. I will reveal during my talk the details. Then another factor, you all know about Kharavela, another great emperor, now who defeated Satavahanas. Satavahanas were very powerful in those days. And Kharavela defeated Pushyamitra who killed Bruhadrada, the last emperor, Mauryan emperor, and came to power. Actually, this Pushyamitra fell down on the feet of Kharvela and handed over the Jain, the statue of Sitalnada, the 10th Tirthankara, which was taken away from Kalinga. And our Kharvela has brought it back to Kalinga and erected in his capital. Why I am mentioning again, this Kharvela's second wife belongs to my own native place, my own native village, by name Singapuram, and which was called as Simhapuram once. And this Singapuram is now located just 1 kilometer away from my native place, Ampolu. And the cultural greatness, the spiritual greatness, and the practice of Buddhism and Jainism, which were revolutionary trends, who changed the life of the people in India in total. And there was a paradigm shift from Vedic practices to Buddhism and Jainism. Let us not go deep into its merits and demerits. Just I am talking about what happened in those days. So when I came to know all these things by reading a short book about Kalinga, I felt very, very proud, very proud. And from then onwards, I start reading whatever book I come across with a simple title, that Kalinga. The name Kalinga attracted me and made me think over the greatness of Kalinga land. But unfortunate thing is, the Kalinga which was there in BC was split into different parts. While we are talking about the greatness of Kalinga, we have to mention about Kalinga War also. Then we will discuss about an appropriate point of time. But this Kalinga, once it was called as Trikalinga, 3 Kalingas. What is the significance of this name Trikalinga? This was one nation. This was one kingdom. All the 3 Kalingas are one nation, one kingdom, and there used to be one language also. But unfortunately, what happens today, the scholars and the historians and lot of people from Odisha, they don't consider the Kalingandra part as the part and parcel of Kalinga. And the adverse face of the issue is these 3 districts, Srikakulam, Vizianagaram, and Visakhapatnam, these 3 districts are called now Uttarandhra, North Andhra. Once they were part of the integrated Kalinga, that is Trikalinga. The state of Odisha formed on linguistic basis. The first state formed on linguistic state in the country in the year 1936, and the present Andhra, Odisha was under one province. Prior to that, this happened in 1936. Prior to that, it was Bihar and Odisha province, which was formed in 1912. It is now called as Kalinga, and once its name was Utkala. Even in our national anthem also, Utkala name was mentioned. According to Mahabhagavatam, Utkala is the son of Dhruva. Dhruva had two wives. One is Brahmi with two sons, Kalpa and Vatsara. Kalpa and Vatsara, both the names denote the time. Kalpamu, Vatsara means Samvatsara. And the second wife is Ila. Ila has one son, Utkala, and a daughter. So with the name, this land is named after Utkala. Before it was called Kalinga, it was Utkala. And the name Kalinga is the new name for Utkala. Kalinga has its, how ancient, we can imagine that the Kalinga was mentioned in Rig Veda. Kalinga has its reference in Rig Veda. Ramayana, Mahabharata, in all these, the mention of Kalinga was there. In Rig Veda, the story, most of you know that story, Dirgatamas, Bali, when he has no children, with his wife Sudeshna, this Dirgatamas blessed Sudeshna with 5 children. Anga Vanga Kalinga Pundra Shuhma. Ango Vangaha Kalingasya Suhmashyate Suta Tesham Desha Samakyataha Swanama Pradita Bhuvi. So this is the sloka about the descendants of Dirgatamasu. And this Kalinga, the third fellow, Vanga, the names given to this Bengal and other areas. The third one was Kalinga. So this is such an ancient history it has. Kalinga has in our Vedic literature, in our Puranic literature. So where this actually located, as our friend told, the old boundaries was from Ganga to Godavari. Of course, presently, the boundaries were only in our discussions, in our texts, in our subject matter considerations, histories, archaeological evidences also. There may be here and there some evidences even up to Elur and this thing, Godavari. But broadly it is confined to Visakhapatnam, those 3 districts. But the boundaries of Kalinga, according to R.D. Banerjee, who wrote the history of Odisha. So the land between Midnapur and river Damodara is Uttara Kalinga. And from Mahanadi to Rushikulya, this is called Madhyama Kalinga. From Berhampur to Kalingapatnam, that means my native place. Kalingapatnam is very near, some 3 or 4 kilometers from my native place. This is Dakshina Kalinga. And this Kalinga was one of the Shodasa Janapadalu. 16 city-states were there, Janapadams were there. Anga, Vanga, Kalinga, Asaka, Avanti, Chedi, Gandhara, Kamboja, Kashi, Kosala, Kuru, Magadha, Malla, Macha, Panchala, Surasena, Vajji, Vajji, Vatsa. So this Kalinga was there. Very powerful Janapadam. If you talk about Kalinga War, which was fought between Kalinga people, Kalinga Republic, Janapadam or Ganatantram, and Ashoka, it was fought in the year 260 and 61. Broadly accepted 261 BC. Ashoka fought this war or waged against Kalinga for economic, political, and strategic reasons. Before Ashoka, Mahapadmananda, actually, historians had a partial view. The integrated India started from Chandragupta, they say like that. But actually, it was Mahapadmananda who integrated the entire India into one kingdom. But nowhere his name was mentioned for reasons known to them only. He invaded, Mahapadmananda also invaded Kalinga. It was he who formed an irrigation canal in Kalinga. Later on, it was repaired by our Karvela. It was the first irrigation canal in India. The name of that canal is also Tanusuli Kal. The war was said to be fought by the side of Daya river, and the waters of Daya turned red due to the heavy bloodshed during that war. The surprising thing, and Ashoka also mentioned the details of this war in his 13th inscription. But nowhere he mentioned the name of the king of Kalinga. Not only Ashoka, but no historian till now is able to say who was the king of Kalinga when Kalinga war was fought. Because it is a landmark war, a unique war. A war naturally results in the victorious and defeated on the lines of army, in terms of army. It may be a military victory, it may be a military defeat, but this is the only war in the entire universe. It resulted in the transformation of a king who was considered to be very notorious, who said to be killed hundreds of his brothers. It is the war, Kalinga war. It is the people of Kalinga. It is the religious practice, Buddhism, that changed him as a Buddhist, as a peacemonger, who turned his own life and the life of his citizens as peacemongers, as peace lovers. So it has never happened in any history of the world. That is the greatness of war. Not only the war, that is the greatness of Kalinga people, because there was no king for them. Each citizen is a soldier. Each householder is a king for himself. It is a self-reliant, independent, self-sufficient Ganatantra rule was there. Every village, every habitation itself is sufficient, both in terms of prosperity, in terms of military. So this is the greatness of Kalinga people, Kalinga land. It has imbibed all the Ashtanga Margas of Buddhism, all the principles, the peaceful, harmonious living system of Jainism. There was no violence. There was no fighting between human beings, citizens, villagers, town dwellers. So such a great harmonious living, cooperation between the Janapadas, the villages, changed him to a Buddhist. And then what he has done after that, so many stories are there. So much narratives are there about the life of Ashoka. Because why I am elaborately talking about that, that is the impact given by the Kalinga soil, the Kalinga land, the Kalinga wind, the Kalinga waters. See, the Kalinga Sea, Bay of Bengal is there. Visakhapatnam, which I was talking about, the very near to my native place, is a very big seaport. Maritime trade, carrying out maritime trade, exporting the spices, valuable stones, forest produce, earning lot of foreign exchange to the country. So that is the contribution of Kalinga. So because it was self-ruled. But let me admit once again that my talk is a layman talk. I am not fully versed with all the details, facts, figures, dates, historical events. But as a student, still I am studying, and I will forever study till my last breath about the greatness of Kalinga land and ventilate my ideas through whatever medium is available, whatever means possible, by writing poetry or short stories or novels. In that process, I wrote a novel, Visakhapatnam. How valiant it was, how courageous, how chivalrous it was during that time. And now also, the mindset of Srikakulam people is different, totally different from the rest of the state. Rational thinking is there. Even in voting pattern also, the entire state votes in favor of a particular party, Srikakulam district will vote against to that party. How it happens? Why it happens? A common man also can argue and stand for justice so voluntarily, without any gain, even if it is painful. So in this process, I restrict my talk. There are so many, each boulder can speak volumes. Each stupa can speak volumes of Buddhism and Jainism. And the distinctiveness of Srikakulam district or Kalinga land as a part, whenever I say Srikakulam means take it as a part of Kalinga, because it is part of Dakshina Kalinga. As I told you the divisions. So here, and it has imbibed not only Buddhism and Jainism, later it was imbibed the valuable messages of Vedikam also, Hinduism also. In my view, Hinduism nothing but the combination, the culmination of Vedikam, Bauddham, Jainam first came prior to Buddhism. Jainism and Buddhism. Later on, whatever may be the sections, whatever may the subfields came in due course of time, all put together become Hinduism. That is the reason why Buddha was made one of the Dashavataras of Lord Vishnu. It is not against any particular religion. My viewpoint is not biased to any particular practice, any particular theory of belief. I want to share with you what happened historically, what this land witnessed, the enthralling incidents that happened on this land. So in my district, there is one, Dantapuram is there, Singapuram is there, it was previously Simhapuram, and Salihundam is there, Sri Mukhalingam is there. These are the centers of attention to delve deep into the history and to understand the layers of meaning, layers of communication, layers of culture, Indian culture, how Kalinga contributed to the greatness of Indian culture, heritage, maybe tangible or intangible. It has contributed, of course. People may not be that much considerable to mention its contribution. And as I slipped that important point, as the historians or the researchers of Odisha were not considering these three districts, Kalinga, Andhra, its contribution. And what happens with Andhra people, because Andhra people, always Andhra historians, Andhra researchers, professors, they also neglect the history of this Kalinga Andhra, because Kalinga is not part of Andhra once upon a time. And the languages, of course, Telugu and Odia, both languages are there. Maybe it may be Prakruta, both evolved from, I think it is from Prakruta language. But there was no much emphasis. When I was in the government also, I made it a point. And I requested our friend Sivanagari Garu also to pay some attention on this area. Of course, he was the person who made the excavations in Dantapuram also. He was in the team when excavations were done. Of course, we can request him also, if he joins after my brief talk, his experience with these sites. You will be surprised to know, and of course, some of you may be knowing, now Sri Lanka is there. Sri Lanka's name was Simhala once. And that Simhala kingdom was established by a prince gone from the Simhapuram, which is located right now on the NH16. Now I was telling that 3 kilometers away from my native place. My native place surrounded by all these things from Kalingapatnam, Salihundam, and Simhapuram, and Dantapuram. Also, they are with a close proximity. These places are there. And this Simhapuram, I am going to give you this narrative of Simhapuram. There are two city-states, like in Greek, Athens and Sparta. Like in Hyderabad, it is Secunderabad and Hyderabad. Maybe in Odisha also there may be twin cities. Here also, Dandakapuram, later on called as Dantapuram. And this Dantapuram erstwhile called as Dandakapuram, and this Simhapuram were very adjacent city-states having independent kings, controlled and ruled, reigned by independent kings. This Simhapuram was built by Simhabahu. And the queen of that Simhabahu was Simhala. Allah. Preeti madam, Allah here, Allah. Simhala. So the royal couple have some 32 children, but the focus will be on the first child, male child, named Vijayabahu. And the Kalingapatnam being the biggest seaport, as I told you, used to export all the valuables to other by maritime trade. This majestic city, Simhapuram, with a people of 66 distinct professions, were coexisting, embodying with wisdom and craftsmanship. Through their collection of collective brilliance and across the Kalinga's fame crossed across the seas, reached the foreign countries, entire Jambudvepam as a beacon of civilization and progress and prosperity. But see, the fate of people, human beings, is like this. In spite of all his satisfaction, Simhabahu was discontented, unsatisfied with one major element, that is the behavior of his son, royal prince Vijayabahu. He was a very irresponsible fellow. He was careless, indisciplined, and always spending time with his entourage or followers or fellow friends in all evil deeds. This story, surprisingly, it is not there in Andhra's or maybe in Odia history books, I don't know, but this was recorded in Mahavamsha, Depavamsha.
And it is also well done in Odisha. This
okay, I don't know. That's right. So it was not there in.
Who was kind of banished from Kalinga.
Mukhalingam is this thing separate, and that was the capital of Karvela for some time, and later he shifted to Odisha. So what happened? And the reason in that I read those books, and one doctor, Ajay Singh, wrote a book recently, some 5 years back, who was a doctor by profession, but by interest, it was he was also a researcher on Kalinga history and the history of his own land, his own country. So he wrote Finding Simhabahu. He came to know that in that Sri Lanka historical chronicles, it was mentioned that Vijayabahu established the kingdom of Simhala. So who is this Vijayabahu? He went on making a research. Then he found that our Singapuram is the proper place of his king and his father Simhabahu, and he wrote a book, Finding Simhabahu. So actually, then he was banished, he was exiled, put to exile himself and with 700 other people, his friends and followers. But nowhere it was mentioned on which particular charge, which particular crime he was punished. But then in my novel, I have given this narrative in my novel, but I made use of my creativity wherever there were gaps, historical gaps are there. I'm bound to create my own narratives which are suitable to that. So keeping this indisciplined, irresponsible behavior of Vijay Bahu, then I created a character like Giriraj Dhani, who was a very affluent merchant in that kingdom. And his daughter was molested by this group and she was killed. So on that charge, the entire the people, the population in that Simhapuram, they rebelled against the king. And this fellow, Giriraj Dhani, has a lot of good appeal in the people, goodwill in the people. So then the king, who was already tired with the behavior of his son, he banished, he exiled his son along with his friends 700 on a boat or a ship. I named that ship also Kachapam, means tortoise. So that on that ship he was exiled, and that ship touched the shores of Tamraparni. Sri Lanka name was then Tamraparni because the sand was shining like copper. So in that Tamraparni, there are tribal groups are there, clans are there, small headed by their chiefs. And one princess, Huvani by name, she loved this Vijay Bahu and helped him defeating all the tribal chiefs and integrated the entire country and named after his mother Simhala. Simha was the name of his mother. So he named up that. And the interesting thing is, he has no children. Then what happened? Again, Pandu Vasudeva, he ruled for 30 years. And later, when there was no children for him, his brother, one of his cousins, Pandu Vasudeva, gone from Simhapuram, that means my native place, to again Sri Lanka and ruled for another 30 years. And after that, Muttuseva was also went from Simhapuram and he also ruled for 20-25 years. And the last migrated king from Kalinga to Sri Lanka is Tissa. Tissa is the name of Ashoka brother also, but they are two different persons. During that period of Tissa only, the Prince Mahendra, son of Ashoka, has gone to Sri Lanka for the propagation of Buddhism. And Sangamitra also gone there to initiate this Diksha, Bauddha Diksha, to wife of Tissa, whose name was Anula. So that was the contribution. 4 kings established. Sri Lanka was established as Simhala by a prince gone from our Kalinga. And 3 consecutive kings have gone, migrated from Kalinga, our Kalinga, to Sri Lanka or Simhala. So this is one aspect. So is it not a pride thing for any person who has the sense of history or the historical glory of his own motherland?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So another thing, you have another this thing is there. Another connection between Sri Lanka and Kalinga. The very, very, very crucial connection. This is what I'm going to tell. In Kandy, there was a left cannon tooth relic of Lord Buddha. Even till now, it is there. It was adorned by so many. It is a big pilgrimage center. I didn't go so far. I wanted to go there and see that place also. Very shortly this year, I am planning to go there. My friend Sivanagareddy has gone 2 or 3 times. that tooth relic was also given by our Kalinga to Sri Lanka.
Dalada Maligai.
Danta Dhatu.
Yes.
Sivanagari garu.
Sir, that was, sir, I felt really I am a great fortunate man to see the holy tooth relic of Lord Buddha, and it is respected in such a way we are not doing in India.
Yeah.
Sir, kindly continue. Wonderful, sir. I became emotional after listening to your talk. Emotional.
Welcome,
Please continue.
Sivanagari
Please
sir.
continue.
Welcome,
Sir.
sir. Welcome.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. How are you, sir?
Thank you for joining, sir. Please be with us.
Ayo, my pleasure.
Sir, please be with us after Vijay Bhaskar sir's talk. I will ask you also to speak for some time. Also,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Madam Srilata,
Thank
who
you.
has translated the book, she is also here. Welcome, madam.
Yeah, we are talking about, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, kindly, sir, kindly continue. Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Sivanagari, sir. Hope you are doing well.
Very nice, very nice. I am extremely happy. And let sir continue. And at the end, I think we can have that discussion part.
Yeah.
And now you don't know that Vijay Bhaskar sir is now he seems to be not retired because tireless effort. Thank you.
Sir, another place I was mentioning about Dantapuram. And I forgot to tell.
I excavated it, sir. I excavated it.
Yeah, I told that. You are there. I told that before you join.
Join.
That.
Yes, I am on tour now coming.
Yeah. I'm very happy, sir. You are here. Then one thing I forgot to mention. When Vijay Bahu reached that Thamraparni, when Lord Buddha had his Mahaparinirvanam in Kusinara, the same day, it was recorded in the history. Maybe there may be different versions, but the day when Lord Buddha had his Mahaparinirvanam in Kusinara, on the same day he landed on the shores of Thamraparni. So there was a fierce fight for his mortal remains among the Litchavis, among the Sakyas, Buliyas, Koliyas, and Mallas. So all these 5 or 6 clans, they demanded that they are the legal heirs to receive this astikalu. In Telugu we call astikalu. I don't know what you call in Odia, but the mortal remains. Dhatu. So this is there was a fight among them for take away these mortal remains. Then by that time there was one Brahmin from Kalinga, from our Kalinga, there was with Buddha, Lord Buddha, his name was Drona. And this Drona was entrusted with the responsibility of sharing that dhatus to among the claimers, those who are claiming the Mallulu, Sakyulu, Buliyilu, all these people. Then there may be a lot of description was there, but we need not to go all these things, mention all these things. But he sent the left cannon tooth relic to Kalinga by Kyamadherudu, and a disciple is there, a Buddhist is there, and with him he sent back that relic, tooth relic, Danta Dhatu, to Dandakapuram. Dantapuram later on, after receiving this Danta Dhatu, they renamed it as Dantapuram. but before that it is a Dandakapuram. So the Brahmadatta was the king by that time. He has a lot of respect, veneration, reverence for Lord Buddha. So immediately he has taken that with all his submission, and he built a big stupa and kept this dhatu and offered the prayers. He respected, he honored Buddha, Lord Buddha, with the fuse construction. And the details were recorded in so many places. Then, after 3 or 4 generations, Guhasiva came to power. One king, namely Guhasiva. And this Guhasiva was very happy, and his daughter name is Hamamala, and the son name was Dantakumara. See the name, because of the faith in Buddha and that tooth relic, that Danta Dhatu, his name was also Dantakumara. So the Kalinga used to, with the blessings of Lord Buddha, the physical prosperity, the religious importance, and the spiritual significance spread all over Jambu Dwepa. This was held by the king of Patliputra, whose name was Pandu. And that Pandu wanted to invite this Guhasiva along with the tooth relic to Patliputra to offer his veneration or reverence or prayers to Lord Buddha. He sent his deputy Chittayanu and invited, and Guhasiva also accepted to Patliputra. And he was there for some time. And all the unrest in Patliputra came down, hushed down. All the conspiracies in the Antapura, they were subdued. The law and order was maintained. The rains, the periodical rains came. Crops yielded in abundance, and people were happy. He thought that it was because of the blessings, because of the kind mercy that was shown and showered on Patliputra by Lord Buddha. And the neighboring country was Vaisali, and whose king was Kiradhara Narendrudu. Then he had an idea of taking away this tooth relic from Patliputra. So he waged a war against Pandu. Guhasiva was there, and Patliputram was a small army. But surprisingly, Kiradhara Narendra was killed there. And he was again felt very happy with the blessings of Lord Buddha, because my army is very small and that Kiradhara Narendra is a very mighty fellow. How it happened, how he was killed. So it all happened because of the blessings and the mercy showered on me by Lord Buddha. He thought like that. And with all reverence, with all royal courtesies, he sent back to Kalinga the Guhasiva, and along with the tooth relic. But the kith and kin, brothers, cousins of Kiradhara Narendra, who was killed in that war, they came together, they designed together, they contemplated together not to leave this issue like that, and they waged a war against Kalinga. That means on Dantapura. Then Guhasiva, the army entered into the almost nearer to the kingdom. So he was in a fix what to do. He is not ready. How to save this tooth relic? How to protect this one, this pious one, this holy one? Then he called his daughter Hamamala and son-in-law Dantakumara and told them, see, my dear children, it is not safe to keep here because the army of that Kerandhara Narendra relatives have already approaching the kingdom. They are almost on the borders, but we are not ready. Maybe there may be chances for defeat, for our defeat. If we get defeat in the war, they definitely snatch away the tooth relic, and they may do whatever they want to do. They may insult, they disrespect, dishonor. I cannot imagine such a thing to the tooth relic of Lord Buddha. So my request to you is, take this casket of tooth relic along with you, and on Kalingapatnam port, you just begin your journey to Sri Lanka again, where the Mahasena was there who is my close friend, and hand it over to Mahasena, who will guard, protect, safeguard the respect of this tooth relic. Saying that, he handed over them. They started their journey right in the Kalingapatnam port, and they reached, in the middle there was a shipwreck and all these things, but we need not mention all those things. In Nagailanka, in Krishna district, there was a shipwreck. This is all recorded. It is not my imagination or creativity. Whatever I am telling, whatever I am adding is only my emotion, not the words and letters.
It was sir, it was at Majarika, very close to Ghantasala, it's a Buddhist site, and it was mentioned in our what we call Sri Lankan Chronicles, Mahavamsa.
Yes. That's
Thank
what
you.
I am skipping all those things. That's what I am mentioning, because then they reached Sri Lanka, and now it is in Kandy. It is in Kandy, and the entire episode is depicted as more murals on the walls of that Buddha stupa in Kandy. Our Sri Sivanagiri has gone there and seen. So this was about the Dantapuram episode. So these are the connections between our Kalinga, more so with Srikakulam and Sri Lanka. Both begin with Sri and Sri. So this is the historical relation between Srikakulam and Sri Lanka. And there is another Buddhist place in Srikakulam, which has very great importance, historical importance in those days. It is Salihundam, another place, Buddhist place. It was called Salivatika previously in the history. Sali means paddy, wari, and Vatika means go down. People might be using that place as a godowns to store this the paddy, rice and all. Where it was a holy sangamam of Vamshadhara with Bangalakatam, Kalinga Sagaram. I called it Kalinga Sagaram in my novel, not Bangalakatam, because Vamshadhara has its birth in Minnajwala in Odisha, and it starts its journey in two brooks. As two brooks, first and then mixing into, confluencing into one, it becomes a very that two streams are called. See how beautifully they used to call it. One is Palapalaya, and the other stream is called Chauladuva. Chauladuva means the rice water, and the water cleaned the rice. And Palapalaya is the rice used to clean the vegetables. So what man needs, what human beings needs for their survival, for their prana, it is only rice and Kuragai vegetables. So how imaginatively, how beautifully they named these two streams, we can imagine. So starting like these three streams as two streams, this river will get merged somewhere and flow as a very big river, and it has its confluence near Salihonda. A very spectacular scene is there, very spectacular. And in that, my novel also, I described in different ways, using all my imaginative skills. So here, Buddhist establishments are dated to be during the 2nd century. That means prior to Ashoka also, as per the inscriptions available there. And many sculptures of Vajrahana deities were found in Salihondam. It is the place where Vamshidhar, as I told you, it joins with that. Many structures are clustered on the hilltop. It was located on the hilltop, and these structures include stupas, viharas, and pillared mandapas. And stone caskets, silver caskets were also excavated in Salihondam. So this was very beautiful and a center of Buddhism also. Now there are Hindu temples are there in the neighboring hill. It is not on the same hill. And this is about Salihondam. Now, coming to this Mukhalingam. Sri Mukhalingam is a very important place for now it has got its importance even in Hindu culture also, Hindu religion also. And it was so interested to know that it served as a capital to Kharvela. And any talk by anybody without mentioning Kharvela, the most powerful emperor who had his birth on the noble soil of Kalinga, the talk will not be a comprehensive and complete one. The details of Kharvela are known to the world with Hathikumpa inscription. He was hailed as Mahamegavahana Kalingadipati. He was hailed as Mahamegavahana Kalingadipati. He was the grandson of Megavahana and son of Chediraja. I had so many books on our Sivanagari Redgar also wrote a detailed narrative on this Hathikumpa Sasanam inscription. He clearly explained the meaning of each word and each phrase also. And another very startling or surprising or astonishing factor is Kharvela had two wives. One is Vajragharavati, the Agramahishi, and the second wife is Sindhula. And this Sindhula is again from our Kalinga, and both are from Kalinga, but this Srikakulam from Simhapuram, which was neighboring village to me. This Simhala is from Singapore. His grandfather, Megavahana, worked as Mahamatra in Kosali. Kosali law, he worked as Mahamatra because during Ashoka period, he introduced the system of Mahamatras. So he worked as Mahamatra, and these Mahamatras used to judge the cases, and also they used to sort out the dispute between people and all, and more or less the local chiefs, local royals. So he was, and in that inscription, a detailed description was given about the training, childhood, how brilliant he was during his childhood. All he was trained in sports, correspondence, diplomacy, accountancy, state regulations, laws, music, and war. And one of our respectable IPS officer, Anjaney Redgar, who was there, who is there now with us in Hyderabad, who has a commendable knowledge on Buddhism. And he is also a Buddhist also. He says that this Odisha dance form are there. You know, we have some 8 to 9 classical dances. One is Kuchipudi, Odisha, Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Kathakali, Manipuri. Like that, we have classical dances. And this Odisha is from Mukhalingam, Sri Mukhalingam. He actually wanted to give a book proving this fact. This was developed in during the period of Karavela in Kalingapatnam, and later on spread to the entire Kalinga. That was his theory, what he was mentioning. I have to find out that. He got training in all 5 fields of army: cavalry, elephants, infantry, chariots, and navy. Kalingas are the heroes of the seas, navigation, ships, shipbuilding. They are masters in the shipbuilding. That I forgot to mention. Now I am mentioning proudly that our Kalingas are the masters of shipbuilding. In my novel also, I wrote a chapter about shipbuilding and all. Actually, my inference, it's only my personal opinion. Odisha means, I thought, Vada means ship. In Telugu, Sanskritam also. Isha means Prabhu, king. That's why the name may be derived in that direction also. It is my personal opinion, may be true or not. Odisha, Vadalaki Ishudu, Vadalaki Prabhulu, Vadalaki kings, emperors. So the maritime trade was all carried by the Kalingas during that period. The heroes of the waves, they were called as heroes of the waves. They know how to control the violent, turbulent waves of the sea. So they are masters on the seas. They conquered the entire the world. So in that, though he was a Jain by practice, by belief, Kharavela was a Jain, and he was tolerant to other beliefs also. At the age of 24, he became the king, and during his ruling, he led 6 campaigns, war campaigns. The first one in his second year of his ruling. The second one is on the 4th year of his ruling. The third one is on the 8th year. The fourth one is on the 11th, and the 5th and 6th year on the 12th year of his regime. So he defeated the Rajika and the Bojikas who wanted to claim independence. During Ashoka period, there may be independent rulers of that particular period, and during Satavahanas also had a lenient on them. So when Kharavela came, but he did not agree for that independence of Rajika and Bodhikas, and he conquered them. And he also defeated Tamil Confederation. There was a Tamil Confederation during that day, and he made the Pitunda city plowed by asses, donkeys. The biggest success which I am going to mention, and the milestone success when he wanted to invade Pushyamitra. Who is this Pushyamitra? Pushyamitra was the king, became king by killing the Bruhadradha, who was the last Mauryan emperor. So from that, Maurya clan, Maurya dynasty came to an end, and then this Pushyamitra came to rule by killing this in a army parade. When Bruhadradha was making an army parade, he killed him and came to power. And this Bruhadradha, if you take from this Ashoka was succeeded by Kunaladu, and Kunala has three sons: Vijitashoka, Dasharatha, Samprati, and this Bruhadradha was the son of Samprati. So with that, that Mauryan dynasty came to an end, and this again our Kharavela waged a war against Pushyamitra. And this is when he was there in the Govardhanagiri, Gordhari mountain. Our people say, but this is Govardhanagiri. And when Kharvela was camped on that Govardhanagiri, that Demetrius, Greek king, started invading the same Magadha from other side. He almost came into Madura. Then the Pushyamitra was in fix, both sides enemies. Then Kharvela had a noble thought. Actually, in politics, what is the formula? Our enemy's enemy is our friend. That means Demetrius must be friend to Kharvela, because Pushyamitra is enemy to both Kharvela and also Demetrius. But the great Kalinga emperor did not think like that. He thought that Pushyamitra is my brother, my Indian. That Demetrius fellow is a Greek fellow who is a foreigner to me. Let my dispute sort out with the Pushyamitra later on, but an outside invader is equally enemy to me. That is the spirit of Kalingas. That is the spirit of Kalinga blood, Kalinga's thought process.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So he went to Demetrius and defeated him and thrown back to the borders. Then he fought against Pushyamitra. Pushyamitra, actually, he did not fight anymore. He fell on the feet of Kharvela and surrendered himself. But what our Kharvela has done, you know, he without annexing the kingdom, he declared victorious and left it to Pushyamitra. Afterwards, Agnimitra came, his son Agnimitra came to rule, and during that Agnimitra only Kalidas survived in his court. That is another version. That's why Malavika Agnimitramu, he wrote a drama, Malavika Agnimitramu Kalidasu, because he had a first-hand experience. He was in the court of Agnimitra. That's why he wrote. That is a different versions about his time and life. But here, what Kharvela did a very fantastic job. I told that Mahapadmananda taken away the statue, the idol of Tirthankara, 10th Tirthankara by name Setalnadha from Kalinga to insult the Kalingas, to dishonor the Kalingas, to victimize the Kalingas. But our Kharvela, the emperor of Kalinga, he has taken back that Setalnada idol or Vigraham or statue back to Kalinga and restored the respect of the Tirthankara. That is what he has done. So that was the chivalry, courage, fighting spirit of Kharvela, for which we are all who assembled here are living on the holy land of Kalinga. I forgot to another thing here. The Vaidikas, because it is an open forum, it happened long back. The Vaidikas used to illiterate, used to consider the Kalinga as an auspicious land, as an ignoble land, as a noble that should not be walked on, that should not be tread into Kalinga. They told? If anybody enters Kalinga, it is a sin made with foot. Kalingamlo velte kalato chesina padamuto chesina papamu. A sin made with foot if you enter into Kalinga. It was on records. It is not my own creation. And they also suggested the redemption from that sin. They suggested Punastomam, two rituals. Another I forgot. Punastomam is one of the ritual to be performed to get relief from that scene. So in such a disadvantaged conditions, in such a unfavorable conditions, were there among the all other religions, other co-religions, and disrespect for Kalingas, but they never looked back. They always progress. They always peep into the future. They always come out of the problems very victoriously. And the Karvela spirit, fighting force, chivalry, courage are well depicted in the books, historical books, and for which we are all geographically, genetically, and religiously, culturally, we are all successor for that hero, Kalinga emperor. So that is my understanding, layman understanding about Kalinga history and the prominent role played by my district in the Kalinga region, and in adopting, practicing the noble principle of Buddhism and Jainism, and whatever that Vedic preachings are also equally observed in Kalinga, in my district, Srikakulam. There is Arsavalli Kormanada temple. Kormanada temple is the temple for tortoise, the second avatar of Lord Vishnu. Nowhere in the world there is a temple for a tortoise, but it is in my district. Srikurma is there, and Sun temple after Konarka, Sun temple is in my district only. So this is my overall understanding, and I thank you very much. Whatever, whether I delighted you or not, whether I pleased you or not, but this is my humble submission to all the gatherings. Thank you.